And boy, just good second effort by DiBenedetto. And Jeff, the guy runs like Charlie Landry, all heart, and he's put together for a little guy.
Now, is it early, Marty? Do you go for 2 right now, or do you try to go ahead and kick your extra point?
Let me tell you why you go for 2. Because you're simply distraught about missing the extra point. You don't have any confidence, obviously, so you got to go for 2. And they've just teams feel that they can rush up the middle and do it, and they've done it 6 straight times. We've seen it. It started with St. Charles, and everybody else has done it. And Roussel tries to keep it, and that's just a bad play, Jeff. But nevertheless, you got to be happy to be up 12-0. But those extra points and 2-point conversions, they mean a lot. Tonight's game being brought to you by North Lake Vending and Wholesale, located in downtown Hammond. If you need potato chips, candy, Cokes, vending machine services, call North Lake Vending and Wholesale at 429-8888. Also, Bill Hood Ford Jeep, located at 1500 North Morrison Boulevard in Hammond. Don't forget the year-end clearance sale still going on. 0-point financing on all Ford cars and trucks. That's Bill Hood Ford Jeep in Hammond. So, Jeff, I mean, I hate to sound like a broken record, but how happy, if you're a Falcon fan, Falcon commentators, Randy Johnson, John Lagoria, Mike DeRoos, Susan Davis, whoever, with 6:55 to go in the first quarter, you're up 12-0. You got to be real happy, but you got to know in the back of your mind, it's far from over.
Well, no doubt you're going to have to keep scoring, but you know, you've already proved the point on that long sustained drive that you went on to open the game that you can move the ball, you can score, and then you get the gift on the fumble and you take it down and you score another touchdown. If there is a downer, it was the extra points, but we're not going to dwell on that. Brad McKee kicks off, and he's angling it again right to the sideline, and he does step out of bounds that time. And the official throws a flag, but he touched the ball first. No, that's a bad call. They're going to call illegal procedure against St. Thomas for kicking the ball out of bounds, but the ball was touched by a receiver. So that's going to give them the ball at the 35. I do not like the call at all.
Well, he touched the ball inbounds, so that's not a good call, Jeff. I mean, he touched the ball clearly inbounds, so that should be Port Barre ball at the 6-yard line. That's a terrible call. Unbelievable. It's just something about this field and officials, Jeff.
Well, Marty, the only call they could have made there was the fact that the ball was out of bounds. You know, when he touched it, that it broke the plane. I'm not sure of the call on that because the official was explaining to Randy Johnson kind of leaning to the outside, but that was the call.
So now Port Barre, split backfield. Handoff to Lavillier, and he picks up about 3, or he'll be tackled by Bertone along with Aran. And quarterback Jake Smith doing a good job for the Red Devils. And they've got a good backfield with 2,000-yard rushers. Daniel Francis along with Abdul Levier. Some of these names, they're down in Cajun country, will be tough to pronounce, but we'll get them right, hopefully. So 2nd down and 7 for the Red Devils at their own 38-yard line. He'll fake up the middle. He'll have a opening to Francis, and he'll get outside, and he'll bust his way, and he'll step outside at the 40, Jeff. And there's an example of how good Port Barre is. What they do, they run the veer, they faked it up the middle. The defenders converged, and Francis was wide open.
Well, they're just going to have to get containment and fight off that block. Will Marshall did a great job punishing the quarterback before he pitched it, but he's going to have to get some outside containment, some help from the outside linebackers and the strong safeties.
So 1st and 10 for the Red Devils at the Falcon 40-yard line after the big run by Daniel Francis. Quarterback Jake Smith, offset eye. He's going to fake it, looking for the speed merchant. And Joseph's going to intercept it that's going to be his 9th interception of the year. And folks, Reggie Joseph, as a sophomore, should be an all-state defensive back. That's a perfect example of his athletic ability to go up and snatch the ball out of the air.
Well, I tell you what, they've got a big play guy in number 10, Marvin White. He's about 6'4", 180 pounds, and the ball was actually underthrown as White slipped, and Joseph made a great interception, a key interception. 5:57 remaining in the first quarter. Falcons leading 12-0. Ball's going to be spotted at about the 11-yard line. And Marty, this is not a place I think you get cute. I think you banged DiBenedetto or Joseph around the end a couple times.
I couldn't agree with you more, Jeff Davis. And there's DiBenedetto fighting hard, and he'll be taken down by a host of the Red Devils led by Gerald Saunier, and you got to feel that they're going to make the necessary adjustments. They're just going to key on DiBenedetto with his early success. So you're going to have Joseph on the outside. You're going to have to complete some passes and use some other guys, Jeff, no question about it. So 2nd down and 9 for the Falcons. 5:27 to go in the first quarter, and St. Thomas leads 12-0. William Marshall will flip-flop to the strong side. They'll hand DiBenedetto up the middle. He'll worm his way and squirm his way forward for about 3, where it'll be a 3rd down and 5. And Jeff, 3rd and 5, you still stay conservative.
Well, you may, but I tell you what, Coach Randy Johnson's been very successful in hitting Kyle Johnson and Kyle Clement. Look for him, maybe throw the ball right here.
So 3rd and we'll call it a long 6 for the Falcons. 4:17 to go in the first quarter, and they lead 12-0. As we have a packed house here tonight at Strawberry Stadium. Joseph will go in motion. DiBenedetto up the middle, and he will get nothing, as Abdul Levier, who doubles as a linebacker from his tailback position, making the stop. And now Port Barry's tightening up, Jeff.
And Coach Randy Johnson did just what I'd asked him to do, and that was to stay conservative down there. It didn't work out too well, but you did not turn the ball over. You do run a little bit of clock, and now you call on Mike Zadaran to punt it away and get you a good kick.
Well, no question about it. And the dangerous one, Marvin White, back deep to receive for the Red Devils. And Zadaran gets off a beauty, and it'll be fair caught by number 14, Shannon Bergeron. And you talk about this Port Barry team, Jeff. We've seen about 7 or 8 guys touch the ball, different guys. They're very, very athletic. Anybody who touches the ball for Port Barry has good hands, can run, and they're a good team. And you can see why they're undefeated. And it's good. It's not going to be long. They're going to be back in this game. You cannot rest on your laurels in tonight's game. So 1st and 10 for the Red Devils at the Falcon 49-yard line. Quarterback Jake Smith fakes it. He hands it off to Levier, and he'll be met by Zadaran along with Denham and a lot of other folks.
Little misdirection crossbuck play. Only gains about 2 yards on the carry, so the Falcon defense is staying tough. Port Barry does have the big strike capabilities, and the Falcons just going to have to be stingy here. Jake Smith under center. One wide out to the near side, split house backfield. Smith running the option. Marshall stringing it out, pitch behind, but he's going to pick up positive yardage all the way down to about the 42-yard line. Gain of about 6 on the carry.
And Jeff, good job by Marshall by St. Thomas, but an even better job by Smith. Waiting until the last moment to make the pitch, and you saw Daniel Francis use his power and picked up an additional 3 yards, as Chaucer had him, but he just simply ran over Chaucer to pick up 3 extra yards. So 3rd down and 2 for the Red Devils inside Falcon territory, down to their 40. 2:36 to go in the first quarter. And Port Barry, they moved. It's got to be offsides on the Red Devils. They tried to draw St. Thomas offsides, and in doing so, they jumped themselves. So that's going to back them up 5 yards.
So instead of having a third down and 2, it's going to bring up 3rd down and 7. 2 minutes and 30 seconds remaining in the first quarter. Falcons leading 12-0. Look for maybe the option here. Smith under center. And Smith's dropping back to pass. He's thrown over the middle to his tight end, and almost a great catch as he came down and couldn't hold on to the ball. And Marty, this is a punting situation now where at that 3rd and 2, even if you didn't pick it up, you would probably be tempted to go for it.
Yeah, no question about it, Jeff. And good job by the Falcons. They got lucky on the penalty, and good coverage right there by Bertone and company. So it will force the Red Devils to punt, and back to punt will be Shannon Bergeron for Port Barre. Back deep will be the dangerous Reggie Joseph. And it's going to be a bad snap. And the Falcons will have to get it. Good job by Marshall. And that's going to be the Falcons' ball at the Red Devil 22-yard line. And Jeff, everything's going the Falcons' way tonight.
And thus far it is, Marty, but the key thing about that is when things are going your way and you've got opportunities, you've got to cash in. They've cashed in twice. You need to go ahead and cash in again and really just try to demoralize this Port Barre crowd and the team. But however, you know, we're not going to jump the gun because this is a long ball game. Minute and 59 seconds remaining in the first quarter. 12-0 Falcons.
You're right. Everything has gone your way. It's time. You cannot hold back. You got to cash in. When you get these opportunities, you got to keep cashing in. So 1st and 10 for the Falcons at the Port Barre 22-yard line. There comes Zadaran on a cross buck, and he'll pick up about 2 yards, where it'll bring up a 2nd down and 8 for the Falcons.
Tonight's ball game brought to you by Landry's Home Healthcare Supply, specializing in oxygen, custom power wheelchairs, scooters, and hospital beds. For all your home medical equipment needs, please see Landry's Home Healthcare Supply at 419-9000 or 1-800-357-0553.
So 2nd down and 8 for the Falcons. They'll give it to Joseph. He'll try to get outside, and he will have nothing as Marvin White and Jeremy Mallett come up to hold him to a gain of maybe 1.
And easy to see from up here, maybe that's one he should have cut back across the grain. We normally like to see Joseph get to the outside and use his speed, but a little bit over pursuing that time, maybe cut it back in and maybe could have took it the distance.
So 3rd and 8 for St. Thomas, and we'll see if Roussel will throw. Play fake. It complete to Joseph on a real good pass and a good catch by Joseph, and he gets out of bounds at the Port Barre 9-yard line. A great play by the Falcons.
And what a great presence of mind by Butch Roussel, as he looked like he was fixing to run with the ball, Marty, as he was being pressured, but he found Joseph streaking across the middle and hit him right in stride. What a great pass and catch that was.
So 1st and 10 for the Falcons at the Port Barre 7-yard line. 27 seconds to go in the first quarter, and St. Thomas leads 12-0. Zadaran in motion. DiBenedetto up the middle. He'll try to get outside, and he'll blast his way forward for about a gain of 2, bringing up a 2nd down and goal, and that's going to be the end of the first quarter with your score: St. Thomas 12 and Port Barre nothing.
Well, just some of the guys do this. See if you can find a hand score. You don't have a cell phone, do you?
Yeah, right here.
I don't know how to use it.
This dial is right.
507 is another cell phone.
Intended for Clements and broken up by Mallett. So now we're going to be forced with a 3rd and goal for the Falcons.
3rd and goal for the 3, huh? 4.
So after the incomplete pass, the Falcons 3rd and goal from the 6. They lead 12-0. We'll see what Coach Randy Johnson decides to do. As the Falcons desperately need to get in the end zone after the big turnover.
Or definitely a field goal here would look good too, Marty. Either way.
So they're going to run Kern off the left side, and he'll get nothing as he is taken down by Marvin White and a host of others.
But they did set it up to the middle of the field, and I believe that was a play that if you get in, good. If not, set it up in the middle and let Brad McKee try to boot it through. Now, we've got to have good up-front blocking, and what you don't want to come away from here, Marty, is no points, because you've got to score every opportunity you get.
And what we'll see, Jeff, is the psyche that the Falcons have, if they've gotten over this, this terrible job of place kicking or whatever the problem is. See if they have solved it. And they certainly have. And thank you, Brad McKee. And that's a good way to solve the problems that we've been talking about. And he is definitely a good place kicker. Just have to have good blocking up front, a good snap. There's a lot of things that go into it. And Brad McKee is a very good kicker, only a junior. So
tonight's ball game brought to you by North Lake Cellular and Payson. Authorized Motorola Cellular Service Center, serving all the Florida parishes. North Lake Cellular serving. We service what we sell. Call us today at 542-7187 or visit us at 123 South Kate Street in Hammond. So Marty, right now you just couldn't script it any better for the Falcons. And the biggest thing is they've just kept the ball away from the Red Devils. The turnover and then the turnover on the punt, and you stopped them once on defense. So you've done a good job.
Well, you have, Jeff, and in any ball game, if you capitalize on turnovers and you take advantage of turnovers like the Falcons have done, you're generally going to win the game, and that's what the Falcons have done. I know it's early on, 11 minutes to go before half. They lead 15-0, but they've gotten the turnovers, but the key is they've taken advantage of them. They've cashed in. So McKee will kick off from his 40-yard line, and he gets it high. Nice kick, taken by Barron. He's got a wedge up the middle, and he'll get down to the 25-yard line where he'll be taken down by Spencer Rossi.
And a freshman there making the tackle, and he did a good job as the wedge was busted. I don't believe that the coaching staff really wanted that ball kicked down in the middle of the field, as McKee has done a great job angling it toward the sideline, and they're going to bring the ball out to about the 35-yard line.
So 1st and 10 for the Red Devils at their own 35-yard line. Quarterback Jake Smith directing this offset eye offense. Make no bones about it, the Red Devils like to run. Shannon Bergeron in motion. Back to Francis. And he'll just have nothing as the entire defense, led by Cody Bertone, Ronaldo Johnson, and a host of others, do the job.
And Will Marshall doing his job, slowing the play down.
So 2nd down and 10 for Port Barre. And I mean, Coach Donnie Perron has just got to be scratching his head, wondering how in the world can he solve this St. Thomas Falcon defense. They'll blast Francis up the middle, and he'll have nothing as Denham and a host of others make the stop. And Ryan White, along with Danny Graves. So the Falcons defense, Jeff, doing a good job, making a long 3rd down, 3rd and 7. And we'll see if they choose to pass. Jake Smith, what kind of arm he has. They don't like to pass, but at times you have to pass, and this is one of those times where you're definitely going to have to pass. And let's see what the penalty is on.
Hopefully Dugas was drawn off sides. Let's wait and see. You'd hate to give them that short of a first down, third down to be able to pick up. Dead ball, offsides against Falcons.
And my, oh my, that's one of those little things, Jeff. You talk about, you got them in 3rd and 7, and now you got 3rd and 2, and maybe later on in the game they get a first down and cash in and go score here. That's something you look back in. You got to stay focused the whole game. And maybe the guy did jump, and it wasn't Dugas' fault, just playing aggressive. I like that. But nevertheless, instead of 3rd and 7, it's 3rd and 2. France is up the middle, and he won't have it, depending on the spot, as he's brought down by Denham and Reed.
And it looked like he got a very favorable spot. They're signaling 4th down, but I believe they're going to bring it in and measure it. The official looked like he kind of ran in a little, made an arc, came in, and then went back out.
Tonight's game brought to you by Don Chaucer's Pharmacy, conveniently located next to North Oaks Medical Center. Call them at 345-7979. That's Don Chaucer's Family Pharmacy. Also, tonight's game being brought to you by Central Progressive Bank. Go by for an interest-free loan to one of their convenient locations, Hammond, Denham Springs, Covington, Mandeville. That's Central Progressive Bank, the friendly people.
Fort Barre lining up to go for it on their own 45-yard line. It could be a ploy to draw the Falcons off sides, but down 15-0 with 9:14 to go in the first half. They may just be going for it right here. White barking out the signals. And it is going to be a handoff straight up the middle, and he'll have the first down. Took down to about the 46, 47-yard line.
Both of these running backs.
So first down for Fort Barre. And Jeff, that was the penalty that picked up the first down. But you gotta tip your hat to the Falcon defense. They played a whale of a first half thus far. Quarterback Jake Smith under center. And the referees see something they don't like. The Red Devils will call timeout, and we'll take one with them. So, we'll be back. So 1st and 10 for Fort Barre at their own 48-yard line. Toss back to Francis. It's going to be a pass. He's just throwing it up, and Zadaran is going to intercept it. And he's going to return it across the 30, and he's going to dodge a couple guys and make a good interception return up to the 34-yard line.
Well, they dipped into St. Thomas's playbook that time, but they didn't execute it as well, as the running back was stumbling as he threw it up for grabs, and Zadaran came up with the interception. 8 minutes and 29 seconds remaining in the first half. The Falcons leading 15-0 and in good shape, as this potent Fort Barre Red Devil offense has not been able to get on track.
So the Falcons will take over after another turnover at their own 33-yard line. We'll see what the Falcons decide to do, as everything has worked for the Falcons. They'll give it to Joseph, and he'll pick up maybe a yard up to about the 34-yard line, bringing up a 2nd and 7.
Second down, we're going to call it about 9 yards to go. Clock continues to tick, getting close to the 8-minute mark. Falcons leading this one 15-0, and you'd like to see them pick up a couple first downs, if nothing else. Roussel under center, DeBenedetta in the backfield along with Joseph. Zadaran in motion. Roussel back to pass, and he's throwing deep, and in and out of the hands of Kyle Clements. A tough catch as that ball looked like to be deflected.
And you very rarely see that Kyle Clements dropping one, as he is about as sure-handed as you can find anywhere. But nevertheless, he is human, and he just simply dropped it. But good coverage by Chris Keys for the Red Devils. So brings up 3rd and 8 for the Falcons, and 7:42 to go before half, and St. Thomas leads 15-0. Marty Morgan along with Jeff Davis, our cameraman Dickie Davidge, as we are at FPTV's Game of the Week. Good play by Roussel right there, Jeff. Just avoiding the sack and throwing it away and not throwing it up for grabs for an interception. So good play by Roussel, and that just shows his senior leadership and how much he's progressed and how much he's matured.
Now, if you're the Falcons, you want to make sure you kick the ball away from number 10. Even if you kick it down the field about 30 yards and kick it out of bounds, that would be your play.
Yeah, no question about it. You do not want Marvin White touching his balls. He is an explosive returner. And Zatarain does the job. He gets it to White, and White reverses his field, and here is going to be leveled by Bertone, and plus the Falcons are going to get a clip call.
And that was one of those little iffy blocks. Is a defender was running toward the ball, and the blocker was just barely nipped him in the back, but nonetheless, that's going to be the call, a block in the back, and that'll help the Falcons in field position. Clipping's going to be the call. That'll be a 15-yard penalty. So the ball should be marked down at about the 15-yard line. And that's exactly where the Red Devils will set up shop, trailing this one 15-0. And that couldn't be any better for the Falcons, Marty, as you're going to make them go the long length of the field to try to get back into this ball game. Jake Smith under center. And a little misdirection handoff, and Falcons not completely full, but the running back will pick up about 8 yards. And Marty, that was the play where you fake to one running back, you come in and you stick it in the belly of another one, as it's almost like a draw play. Ran around the end. We saw Eunice run that play to perfection for years and years and years. And I'm sure being close to Eunice, that's probably where they picked it up. 2nd down and 1. Clock continues to tick at the 6:50 mark. Smith under center, Robichaux in motion, and handoff straight up the middle, and he's finding some running room, and a nice open field tackle that time by Donnie Chaucer, but they will pick up the 1st down. And Marty, that's okay as long as you give it up in dribs and drabs. You just can't afford to give up the big strike, and the Falcon defense has been up to the task thus far tonight. Split backfield, long wide receiver to the near side. And Smith running the option. He pitches, finding a little running room out here. And he's still on his feet, going to be knocked out of bounds, and a very generous spot to the Falcon 41-yard line as the Falcons lost containment on that play.
And Jeff, you see the way they run that option, they run it very well. And Jake Smith, once again, waiting till the last minute, and Francis doing the job. And they move it into Falcon territory down to the 42-yard line with 6:12 to go. And now Port Barre looks like, Jeff, they're getting something going on offense. They found something, and they're trying to get back into this ball game. Quarterback Jake Smith, toss to the left, and that's going to be a legal motion. So that's going to be a legal motion against the Red Devils, and that's going to back them up 5 yards. And that's just what the doctor ordered for the Falcons. Jeff, 6:10 to go, and you have totally dominated this game, but you're only up 15-0. A score here, and you're right back in the game.
Well, and I was fixing to say nothing better than the Falcons could do but to pitch a shutout here in the first half and take all the momentum into halftime. Jake Smith under center. And he hands up to Francois straight up the middle. He's going to bull his way ahead, still on his feet. Finally brought down by Bertone and company, but not before Francois picks up about 10 yards on the carry.
Yeah, that's Daniel Francis, and that's just hard running right there. And, man, I mean, that's just wanting it. And now you can see Marvin White hollering at the guys up front, getting them fired up. Hey, we're not 11-0 for nothing. We're not ranked second in the state for nothing. We're a championship team. Let's act like it. And now Port Barry's starting to get a little fire underneath them. They got a tall sweep to Francis, and he's going to get outside, and he'll be knocked out by Zataran, but not before he gets close to the first down, and he may have it, Jeff. So 1st and 10 for Port Barry as they have marched it in the Falcon territory down to the 30-yard line. 5:27 to go before half. And St. Thomas leads 15-0, and it's been a dominant performance in the first half by the Falcons, but now Port Barry only 30 yards away from getting right back into this game. And that's Louvier for about 8, and Jeff, they're just blocking, opening holes, and just simply having their way.
Well, that's exactly what they're doing. They're getting good push initially, and then they're leading with the fullback who's knocking the linebacker out, and they're picking up substantial yardage on every running play. The Falcons just need to bow their neck. They can bend right here, but they cannot break.
So 2nd down and 3 for the Red Devils. They have marched it down to the 23-yard line. Split backfield, Levier and Francis. Jake Smith, the quarterback. And look at Marshall stepping up, making a stop. And Aran in there, and they're going to throw a penalty, and I don't know what that could be. But it's got to be on the Falcons. Probably leading with his head. I don't know, Jeff. I mean, what could it be? Looked like a simple play up the middle, a textbook tackle, and there was a late flag. Oh my, that's just another terrible call. I mean, what could that possibly be?
Well, you'd really have to be down there on the field to notice. It could have been a late hit. It could have been something said. But regardless of that, it's going to be half the distance penalty. It's going to bring it down to appears to be around the 12-yard line, and that's just something the Falcons didn't need to do. That's to help this Port Barry offense as they're starting to get on track.
So now, 1st and 10 for the Red Devils at the Falcon 11. Jake Smith at quarterback. Tall sweep to Francis, and he is going to pick up about 8. Down to about the 2-yard line, bringing up a 2nd down and goal, and Jeff, Port Barry is making it look easy.
Well, right now they're getting on track. This is the Port Barry team we expected to see. They can pick up a 1st down just inside the 1-yard line, so 2nd down, and let's call it 1.
2nd down and 1, it is Jake Smith doing a nice job directing this Red Devil offense. Offset eye. He'll blast Francis up the middle, and he will score. And just like that, with 3:45 to go before halftime, Port Barry has made it a 15-6 ball game, Jeff. And after they have been totally dominated the first half, they're only 1 score away from being back in this ball game.
Well, no doubt about it. That they're probably going to go for 2 here, and this will be an all-important 2-point conversion. If the Falcons should happen to stop them here, then it would be a 2-score ball game. So 2-point conversion ensuing, full house backfield. Smith under center. Smith going back to pass. He's got a receiver open, and Joseph picks it off. And had that been A couple years ago, that would have been 2 points the other way.
And Reggie Joseph, he's Baryshnikov in cleats. I mean, that's just a pirouette, a graceful move by Reggie Joseph. And folks, he is very good. So with 3:45 to go before half, St. Thomas leads 15-6. Tonight's game being brought to you by Central Progressive Bank. Go by for interest-free checking account, home equity loans, and all auto loans, convenient locations at Central Progressive Bank. Member FDIC. And Jeff, the folks at Central Progressive Bank, very convenient to do business there. Very quick service, just a great place. Ronnie Fugarina's done a good job at Central Progressive Bank.
And now's the time to refinance your home at these low interest rates. So give Ronnie and the gang a call at Central Progressive Bank.
So after a long drive, an 80-yard drive by the Red Devils, they've gotten back into this ball game. They're trying to get their fans back in it. They're excited. Jeff, we figured it'd be a war, and we've got one. So there's a kick. It'll be handed by Reed, and I know Chaucer went for it. You want Reggie Joseph probably to get the ball, but Chaucer was just doing the job. I don't know. You got to have communication.
And what the deal is, it's just like an outfielder in baseball, figuring that Chaucer is the second baseman. The outfielder coming in should pick up the ball. No harm, no foul, no fumble on the play. 3 minutes and 42 seconds remaining in the first half. Falcons leading 15-6. The Falcons need to go on a little sustained drive. You don't want to give the ball right back to Port Barre as that offense starts to click. Roussel under center, full house backfield. Hand off to Benedetto, finding a little bit of running room, and he's going to gain about 2 on the carry. And this Port Barre defense is stepping up, starting to figure out the St. Thomas Falcons just a little bit.
Well, Jeff, what's happened is they've made adjustments, and St. Thomas hasn't made any, and or maybe they have. Maybe the adjustments that the Red Devils have made are just simply working. And they know what's coming. It seems whatever St. Thomas lines up in, Port Barre knows what's coming. I mean, they have just snuffed out the Falcons and just are taking it to them, Jeff.
Well, this brings up an interesting call. It's going to bring up 3rd down, and we'll call it 12. Clock continues to tick at the 2:44 mark, and if you're St. Thomas, you may run the ball here and try to run some more time off the clock and then punt it away, rely on your defense one more time, or you may throw the ball, try to pick up the 1st down, but risk stopping the clock if it goes incomplete. Roussel under center. And we're going to have too much time, delay of game, and that's not at all what the Falcons wanted to see right there, as the momentum has definitely switched to the other side as Port Barre Red Devils are starting to really get into this football game.
Well, they are, Jeff, and I mean, this is, if you're St. Thomas, you got to be scared to death, because it's like a flowing river with a stopper on it, or dam, and this dam's fixing to bust open. And it's a toss back to Joseph, and he just has nothing, as the entire defense of Port Barre gang tackles him. And now, with 1:59 to go in the ball game, in the first half, Port Barre will force the Falcons to punt, and they'll have good field position. They're going to call timeout, and they can feel it. And with this timeout, we're going to take one. So Zatarain back to punt on his own goal line. Surely Port Barre will come with some pressure. And Zatarain gets off a beauty. He's going to drive White back to his 30. He's going to field it at his 25 and try to get outside. And great coverage by Clements and Joseph. And a 66-yard punt by Michael Zatarain. And folks, you got to tip your hat to Zatarain, as that is a great job, a great punt, and that might have saved the Falcons from giving up another score to Port Barre right before half. They definitely needed that. My, oh my, Michael Zatarain, what a job. So 1st and 10 for the Red Devils at their own 29-yard line. Jake Smith under the controls. He's going to toss sweep to Francis. He's trying to get outside, and he does, as he'll be taken down by White and a host of others. Not before he picks up about 5, and it looks like they had him hemmed in, but he just kept moving his legs and got an extra couple yards. Bring up a 2nd down and 5 for Port Barre. 1:34 to go before half, and St. Thomas clings to a 15-6 lead. They'll have 2 receivers to the near side with Francis in a slot. Smith will give it to White. He'll try to get outside, and he does. And he gets back inside, and he'll be taken out by Bertone, but not before he picks up 17 yards in the Falcon territory down to the 48-yard line. And that's just giving your best athlete the ball and letting him do something with it. So now Port Barre is just doing the job right now. They're pulling out all stops, pulling everything out the playbook, and just like that, they've marched it into Falcon territory down to the 47-yard line. Toss sweep to Francis, and he'll get nothing as Donnie Graves does a nice job and stops him for a loss of about 2.
Well, Donnie Graves did a great job getting outside of containment, turning the ball back in. The quarterback may have pitched the ball just a little bit too soon, as Donnie didn't have to commit. 2nd down and 11. Clock under the 1-minute mark. 59 seconds to play in the first half. Falcons leading 15-6. Split house backfield. Wide out to the near side. Smith under center, going to run a little bit of reverse. Graves trying to turn it back, and a nice job that time by Dustin Reed to stay at home. Also on the play, Donnie Chaucer.
And that's good defense by the Falcons, but that was a nice play by Port Barre. And that's going to be timeout, and we'll take one too. So 3rd down and 8 for Port Barre.
We only have 10. We only have 10.
So now the Falcons are having trouble finding who's on the field, and they got to use a timeout. And that's, I don't know. We'll take one. That's pathetic. And St. Thomas still cannot figure out who's in the game, Jeff. My, oh my. What is going on? So 3rd and 8 as Port Barre gets back on offense. A very important 3rd and 8 with 40 seconds to go before half. Jake Smith intended for Keys, and luckily he dropped it, or he may have scored, or he definitely would have picked up a first down. And Joseph, Johnny on the spot, but just gave him a little too much room. So now we'll see if Port Barre goes for it with 35 seconds or if they decide to punt. And it looks like they're going to go for it and try to get back into this game before half. So 4th down, Smith back to pass, and Joseph does a nice job breaking it up. And now the Falcons will take over with 30 seconds.
And Marty, they're going to get the ball in real good field position. Don't be surprised to see Coach Johnson maybe take the ball up, look for Kyle Johnson, Kyle Clemens down the field. So very good defense by the Falcons. And Marty, do you take your shot right here?
I do, because you dodged a bullet. They think you're going to be happy going at 15-6. I try to go for the juggler.
That's it. Try to get a field goal range or something else maybe in 30 seconds. They have 2 times the outside already.
Quarterback sneak by Roussel, and that looked like, I don't know where they set. Who knows? They got me confused. It's going to go against St. Thomas, illegal motion. And now, Jeff, now you just take a knee and go in at halftime and thank your lucky stars that you're 8 points up on the second-ranked team in the state, 9 points up, and you've outplayed them in the first half. But they're coming on strong, so you better regroup and make adjustments, or you're going to be in trouble in the second half. And that's just what they'll do. They'll do the smart thing with 23 seconds to go in half, and they'll let the clock run out. So, folks, stick around, because we are going to have a tough second half. Don't touch that dial, because you are in for a fight the second half. So at halftime, the score, St. Thomas 15 and Port Barre 6.
13. Your Falcons lead the Red Devils 15-6. Jeff Davis along with Marty Morgan, our cameraman Dickie Davidge, as Brad McKee set to kick off. And Port Barre starting to gain the momentum. The Falcons are going to have to play good defense here. And a squib kick, and the Falcons got a shot at it, and it appears they have it. Let's wait and see. St. Thomas pointing like they have it. Port Barre now saying they have it. And the official who counts is the one who's going to say first down for Port Barre. So Marty took a little chance doing a squib kick, hit one of the up men, and looked like the Falcons had a shot at it. However, Port Barre is going to come away with the ball with great field position.
Man, and now after all the breaks went the Falcons' way early on, now late in the second quarter and open the second half, Port Barre's getting all the breaks. After it looks like the Falcons had it, and in the scrum down below, looks like Port Barre just simply took it away. So the Falcon defense will have to bow their neck. 1st and 10 for the Red Devils at the 45-yard line. They'll run Francis on an inside handoff, and he'll pick up about 8, and they'll just continuing to do what they do in the second quarter, Jeff. Picking up 6, 7, 8 yards of carry, and if you're going to do that, you're going to win the game.
Well, it took a while for Port Barre to get on track, and when they did get on track in the second quarter, they started rolling, picking up 7, 8, 9 yards per carry, and nothing's changed here to start the second half. Smith at quarterback, and we've got a flag. I'm not sure it's going to be movement or either the Falcons broke the neutral zone. Let's wait and see. And it appears as though the Falcons are going to be called for an offsides lining up in the neutral zone.
And I mean, man, Jeff, I mean, you're at home and you don't get any breaks. This is unbelievable. But maybe you cause your own breaks. Nevertheless, 5-yard penalty gives the Port Barre Red Devils a first down in the Falcon territory at the 42-yard line, just underway in the second half, and St. Thomas leads 15-6. Smith will hand it off to Francis. He'll find an opening. He's breaking tackles, and he'll have 10 yards once again before Bertone makes a stop. And, Jeff, they are just power football, blocking, and good running, and they're having their way.
Well, early on, we weren't impressed with Port Barre. They hurt themselves early in the first quarter as the Falcons jumped out to a 15-0 lead. But now we're starting to see what this Port Barre Red Devil offense is all about, and that's power football. Jake Smith under center. And he's going to keep it himself, but not to be sold out was Ryan White, who stayed at home.
Yeah, and Ryan White did an excellent job staying at home, holding him for no gain. So it brings up 2nd down and 10 for the Red Devils at the Falcon 30-yard line. And this is a key series to open up the second half. Momentum could be in Port Barre's advantage in a big way. So 2nd down and 10, quarterback Jake Smith under center. He'll toss it out to Francis with blockers in front, and he'll bull his way for another first down, and they are just simply having their way.
He's going to be just shy of the first down, but yeah, Marty, there's student body left, and they bring in everyone, and the Falcons are just overmatched as those big offensive linemen are getting out in front.
And it's just a good game plan by Port Barre. They've made the necessary adjustments, and it's worked to their advantage as they march it down to the 21-yard line. 10 minutes to go in the third quarter, and Port Barre once again on the move. And he has got another hole wide open. And that's another first down, and nothing you can do, Jeff. They just blowing them off the ball and just having their way.
Well, what you're going to have to do is get these offensive linemen to dig down and just try some kind of disruption up there and let your strong safety and your linebackers come up and make the play.
So 1st and 10 for Port Barre at the Falcon 15-yard line. Quarterback Jake Smith hands it to Levier up the middle, and once again he blasts his way and he'll score. And Jeff, that's too easy.
Well, that's what made a team 10-0 right there, Marty, and that's just consistent football, running the ball, good up front blocking. With the PAT to come, Falcons leading 15-12. They're going to have to score some points in the second half, and we knew that was going to happen anyway.
Yeah, we did, and maybe we just, with the turnovers and so forth, maybe we didn't realize how good a team Port Barre is, and they are starting to show their mettle. And if St. Thomas doesn't slow this thing down, I hate to say this, but they're in danger of getting flat blown out of here. They're still up, and that sounds crazy, but looking at the game, from the 7-minute mark in the second quarter on to this point, Port Barre has simply just dominated, both offensively, defensively, and any which way you could dominate a game. And with 9:45 to go in the third quarter, St. Thomas still clings to a 15-13 lead.
Tonight's game brought to you by Jiffy Mart for gas, groceries, and the new Speed Pass. There's a Jiffy Mart near you. Go by seeing Johnny Malazza and company. Also, tonight's game brought to you by Gateway Ford in Ponchatoula. Need a new or used car or truck? Go by and see Greg and Don Waddell at Gateway Ford. Sales, service, and parts. Gateway Ford in Ponchatoula, where you get a good deal and a good deal more. Call them today at 386-7790. And Marty, you are correct. The Falcons, now clinging to a 2-point lead, are going to have to go on an offensive move of their own.
Yeah, because what they've done from the 7-minute mark in the second quarter to this point has not worked, and they're going to need some more big plays. Maybe Reggie Joseph can get a good kickoff return right here and spark some momentum, because the momentum is clearly with the Red Devils. At 9:45 to go in the third quarter, and St. Thomas leads 15-13. And Jeff, you can look at the way St. Thomas is holding herself or on the sidelines. It's a look of defeat, and Port Barre has a look of victory and disaster. That's a fumble, and who knows who has the ball? Port Barre, and my, oh my, Jeff, that unbelievable. I'm speechless.
Well, Marty, that comes from the confusion that they had earlier. They were a little bit too far up as the Port Barre kicker just boomed one, and Joseph and Bertone got mixed up on who should get the ball. Joseph decided to try to pick it up and run, never got the handle, was hit, fumbled the ball, and Port Barre is in first and goal. The ball spotted at about the, looks like about the 2-yard line.
And Jeff, that's the first turnover by the Falcons, and they are just confused everywhere. They can't get enough men on the field. They just don't know what to do. And Port Barre does. So just like that, after the big turnover, Port Barre goes ahead, Jeff, and I mean, this is incredible. I'm speechless.
Well, as we mentioned earlier, all the breaks went St. Thomas's way in the first quarter, and here in the second half, everything is going Port Barre's way, as the opening kickoff of the second half very well could have been recovered by the Falcons, but Port Barre came up with it, and then on the ensuing kickoff, ball was fumbled to the Red Devils at the 1-yard line, and they easily punched it in. 19-15 with Port Barre going for 2. Smith under center, and he's going to hand off, and there's running room to the outside, and he will get in for the 2-point conversion. So with 9:34 remaining in the third quarter, we have a big turnaround. Falcons down 21-15. Tonight's game brought to you by Landry's Home Healthcare Supply, specializing in oxygen, custom-powered wheelchairs, scooters, and hospital beds, located at 1010 CM Fagan and Hammond. For all your home medical equipment needs, please contact Landry's Home Healthcare at 419-9000 or 1-800-357-0553.
Tonight's game also being brought to you by Central Progressive Bank, member of FDIC, convenient locations, interest-free checking accounts, home equity loans, member FDIC. For all your auto loans, go see the friendly folks at Central Progressive Bank. And Jeff Davis, we talked about it, but we didn't imagine this. I mean, just like that, Port Barre has gone up 21-15, and I had somebody over here look at me with wide eyes and kind of laugh when I said it could be a blowout, and I meant it, because that's just the way Port Barre is playing. I mean, they've got, St. Thomas has just given up. I mean, other than, they hadn't given up, but all the momentum is Port Barre's way. They're a championship game, and now they know they can win this game, and they've got St. Thomas down, and they can feel it.
Well, but St. Thomas has been down in a lot of games before and have bounced back. They just got to stop the errors. The ball's going to be kicked, and Joseph feels it this time, fumbles it again. A little bit of confusion, trying to break it to the outside, and he's going to be hammered down at about the 16-yard line, and bodies are flying everywhere as Port Barre is just fired up.
Yeah, they most definitely are, Jeff. I mean, they just have St. Thomas on their heels, and they just it's mass confusion right there. They just have to get back and get refocused, Jeff, and get going. And it's got to start with the senior quarterback, Butch Russell, calming them down. Get something going. And you got plenty of time, so you don't panic and you don't try to get everything at once. Just stay within your game plan. Russell faking, going for it all to Joseph, and that's going to be broken up. And I mean, that's just what I talked about. I mean, they're starting to panic, Jeff. They're getting out of their game plan. You got plenty of time left in the game. That's unsportsmanlike against Port Barre. And why are you going for bombs with 9:34? You're going to throw an interception. They are simply panicking. Just calm down. You're only down by 1 score and run your offense. You don't have to go for the home run just because they got the momentum. You've won 8 games. You can still do it. I don't understand that, but that's why I'm up here, and I'm not a coach.
Unsportsmanlike conduct is going to be the call, so that's going to help the Falcons a lot. The ball is going to be moved 15-yard penalty. Ball being spotted at the 17 should move it out to the 32. Still no official call yet. And as the official comes over and talks to Chris Keys, was probably the culprit. Unsportsmanlike conduct is the call, so a big 15-yard penalty. And Marty, now the Falcons are going to have good field position. As you mentioned, just go back and run your offense, hit the Benedetta, hit Joseph, mix in the pass, and you'll be just fine.
So 1st and 10 for the Falcons at their own 32-yard line. And they need a big score or some kind of big drive, some kind of momentum gainer to get this momentum back. They need to get the lead. Plenty of time left to go in the game. 9:16 in the third. Quarterback Butch Russell under center. Zadaran goes in motion. De Benedetto up the middle, breaking tackles, running hard, just like a pinball, and he'll pick up about 4 yards, a tough 4 yards, bringing up 2nd down and 5 for the Falcons. And that, Jeff, that's what they need to do.
No doubt about it. Gain of 4, you'll take that every time on 1st down, and then maybe you pop Joseph real quick, and who knows, with his speed, he might be able to take it the distance. But I agree with you, Marty. There's no time to panic. Plenty of time. We're still in the 3rd quarter. The Falcons a little bit in shock as they seemingly had the game in their hands as they've led 15-0. But Port Barre has come away with 21 unanswered points. Official timeout. And I think they want to talk to both teams and tell them to just, cut out the talk and let's play football. They're not going to stand for it. And a good move by the officials. So as both teams regroup, so 2nd down and 6 for the Falcons. Zadaran in motion. Russell under center. Russell back to pass, and he throws one, and it's going to be picked off by Port Barre. Number 17, that's Chance Mystic, and everything is going wrong that couldn't go wrong. Murphy's Law is taking effect.
Yeah, Jeff, but now the defense, which has done the job all year long, has to do it. Has to definitely step up, Jeff. I mean, you cannot fall behind this team 2 scores or you're going to be in bad trouble. I mean, they just got to step up and do the job.
So with a player down on the field, we're going to take a quick break.
Yep. Now after the big turnover,
Port Barre sets up shop at the Falcons' 31-yard line. And handoff to Francis, and Francis is going to gain about 4 yards on the carry. However, there will be a question on the play and probably in the spot where you would expect holding to be called. Holding will be the call against Port Barre. Tonight's game brought to you by Smoothie King, located across from the new SLU Activity Center. For deliciousal nutritional shakes, vitamin supplements, it's Smoothie King. Tonight's game also brought to you by North Lake Vending and Wholesale. Give them a call at 429-8888. So first down and about 18 yards to go. And the Falcons desperately need a stop here, perhaps even a turnover. Pitch to Francis, and Francis is finding running room, and he's going to gain about 6 yards on the carry. A student body left, and the Falcons are simply being outnumbered at the point of the attack. Stopped by Bertone on the play. 7 minutes and 30 seconds remaining in the third quarter. Falcons trailing 21-15. Second down and 11 at the 33-yard line. Handoff straight ahead, finding running room straight up the middle. And that's Francis. And Francis is going to be near the first down. It's going to bring up third down and short. Third down and about a yard. Split backfield, wide out to the near side, but look for a running play as they've been so very successful. Hand off to Francis, and Francis finding running room, picks up the first down and more. Gain of about 8 yards on the carry, and that's going to give Port Barre first down at the St. Thomas 15-yard line. And as Port Barre is just starting to outmuscle the Falcons. 6 minutes and 20 seconds remaining in the third quarter. Falcons trailing 21-15. Port Barre on the move. Hand off to Francis, and he's going to be tripped up by Will Marshall as he fought off a block. What a tremendous play by that young man. Tonight's ball game brought to you by Gateway Ford in Ponchatoula. Need a new or used car? Go by and see Greg and Don Waddell at Gateway Ford. Second down and 10, no gain on the carry. Smith under center and hands away, and pretty good defense over there that time by the Falcons. Stopped on the play by number 32, Ronaldo Johnson and company.
And Jeff, this is a big defensive stand for the Falcons. I mean, they just got to bow up and find a way to keep them out of the end zone here. I mean, whatever you got to do it, you got to do it. And that's keep them out of the end zone. And this is probably 4-down territory. So 3rd and 7 for the Red Devils. Pitch out, and good defense by the Falcons as he may have gotten a yard. Zadaran, Reed, and a host of others. So now it's going to be 4th and 6, and they're going to go for it. Why not?
Well, Marty, I tell you what, if they've got a good field goal kicker, which he showed a good leg on the kickoff, this is an opportune place to try a field goal as they're leading the Falcons by 6. A field goal would put them up by 9. Turnabout's fair play as the Falcons took a 9-point lead into halftime. Ball's going to be spotted at about the 16-yard line, so it'll be a 26-yard kick. Slight angle to the far side as it's set at the far hash mark. Snap is down, and the kick is up, and the kick is good. There is a question on the play, and if the Falcons are offsides, that would give Port Barre a first down, and that's just not something that you can afford. A legal procedure against Port Barre, so that'll back them up 5 yards and make them try it again. So instead of a 26-yard field goal, we'll be looking at a 31. Checking into the game for the Falcons will be number 85, Trey Tyser. And the Falcons call timeout. We'll take 1, 2. Goal. It'll be a 31-yard attempt. Snaps down. Kick is up. And the kick is good. So with 4:12 remaining in the third quarter, Port Barre takes a 9-point lead as they roll off 24 unanswered points, 24-15. Tonight's game brought to you by Dixie RV Superstores, Louisiana's largest RV dealer. For sales, service, parts, rentals, motorhomes, fifth wheelers, travel trailer pop-ups. See Tracy Durham or Greg Lyland, Hammond, and Baton Rouge. Tonight's game also brought to you by Jiffy Mart for gas, groceries, ATM, and the new Speed Pass. There's a Jiffy Mart near you. Stop by and see the good guys there. Also, Landry's Home Healthcare Supply. For all your home medical equipment needs, please contact Landry's Home Healthcare at 419-9000 or 1-800-357-0553. And Marty, still a lot of ball game to play. Even though you're down by 9 points, still not a time to panic. Run your offense. You're going to have plenty of time to get the ball into the end zone, but get the ball in the end zone, they must.
Yeah, Jeff, and maybe I've panicked a little too early, too. I mean, you know you're playing a very good team, but like you say, I mean, there's an eternity to go in this ball game, and they've shown the ability to come back like they did against St. Charles, a much better team than Port Barre, so they can do it. It's just, they just got to believe, and they got to be able to do it. They're going to kick it deep, and once again, they're having problems getting the ball. And it's going to go into the end zone, and it'll go back to the 20-yard line. And I just think there's too many people back there, Jeff. I think you should just have one guy back there. I don't know.
Well, that's definitely been their Achilles heel, and that's been the special teams, especially in receiving kickoffs. You could be right, Marty. You might bring your second tier up a little bit and leave Joseph and Bertone back there. But no harm on that one, as the Falcons will start at the 20-yard line. Butch Roussel under center, back to pass, and throws out to Clemens, complete, and a nice gainer of about 6 yards on the carry.
And Jeff, that's a nice little safe play, picking up 6 yards up to about the 26-yard line. Run your offense, take your time, plenty of time. 2nd down and 5, and that's a good play. They need to get a couple first downs. Obviously, they need a score, but we'll take a couple first downs to get some momentum and show that you can still drive this ball. Joseph, and he'll fumble. And I think Zadaran's going to fall back on it. And, Jeff, I mean, Joseph's having a tough time tonight. And that's going to bring up a 3rd down and 7 with 3:07 to go. And the Falcons desperately needing to get something. So 3rd and 7 for the Falcons. Hand off to Joseph, trying to get outside, and he's going to blast his way for a first down. And that's Joseph running hard, picking up the first down, and a crucial first down. So after the 8-yard run by Joseph and the subsequent first down, the Falcons have it at the 31-yard line. 2:43 to go in the third quarter, and they trail 24-15. The Butch Roussel, the quarterback. Inside to DiBenedetto, and he'll have nothing as the entire Port Barre defensive front does the job, holding him to about a gain of 1, bringing up 2nd down and 8, and they have just done the job stopping DiBenedetto. They've made the adjustments, and they've worked. So 2nd down and 9 for the Falcons. 2:04 to go in the third quarter, and they trail 24-15. The Falcons desperately needing to get something going. And intended for Joseph, just thrown a little too far, or Joseph would have had the first down. Incomplete, 3rd and 8 for the Falcons. If he hit him in stride, Joseph may still be running.
3rd down and 9, 1 minute and 45 seconds remaining in the third quarter. Falcons trailing 24-15. And Marty, this is a pretty obvious passing situation here. 2 wideouts to the near side, and Johnson running the Roussel running the option. Keeper going to gain about 6 yards on the carry, but that's not going to be enough. And we've got a penalty flag, and that's going to be a dead ball, probably unsportsmanlike, as frustrations are starting to come out. Dead ball, personal foul against the Falcons.
Jeff, I did not see that, but I guess it was just frustration on the Falcons side. And I mean, they act like they've lost this game, and they have a whole quarter to go. I just don't understand this. So Port Barre's just going to back them up and force the Falcons to punt. It's a dead ball foul. Bud Zadaran, who has done the job in the punting department tonight, in to punt, and hopefully he can back the Red Devils up and let the defense come up with a big play. The defense is going to have to do it tonight. They got to come up with a big turnover. And Zadaran gets a nice high end over end, taken by Keys at the 48-yard line. 1:19 to go in the third quarter, and Port Barre leads 24-15.
Tonight's game brought to you by Smoothie King, located from the new SLU Activity Center for delicious nutritional shakes, vitamin supplements. It's Smoothie King. And the Falcons are going to have to come up with some kind of stop, as handoff up the middle, gain of about 3 on the carry, and I do believe there's going to be a question on the play, probably in the vicinity of holding again. So holding against Port Barre will back the Red Devils up. Holding is your call. But Marty, the Falcons are at a point now that they've just got to stop. One more score by Port Barre is going to be very tough for the Falcons to overcome.
Well, I think what's happened is they've been shot. Lack of intensity from the end of the second quarter on, Jeff. I mean, the Falcons have just been at another stadium. I mean, they have not been focused at all. But William Marshall's focused, and maybe he can get them fired up. I mean, and I think we feel like that they've lost this game, and they haven't. I mean, and they also feel the same. I mean, you can just look at it and tell that nobody's into it. I mean, I'm sitting here being negative when I shouldn't be, and hopefully hoping they'd win, but I don't know. I mean, it just scared me to death as the game played out, and they got the momentum, and I just thought it would be tough. And you said told me off the air that if they scored the opening drive, it's going to be tough, and that's just what it's been. But a big defensive stand here and get the ball back, and the Falcons have the whole fourth quarter and can get something going. And look at that. My, oh my, that fooled everybody in the stadium. And France is just not giving up. And how did that happen, Jeff? What kind of play was that?
And I believe that's that old trick, hide the ball play, as you send a running back one way, you fake him, and then you just hand him the ball, bring the motion all the way back to the other side as the guy with the ball just kind of sits there for a count of 2, and then out of nowhere he just blasts out. So, and if you followed Hammond High football and you saw Eunice play, they ran that play over and over and over every time they needed a big play. And that's going to be the end of the fourth quarter. Your score, Port Barre 24, St. Thomas 15.
Well, Jeff, we start the fourth quarter, and Port Barre, after the big Francis run, has marched it down to the Falcon 12-yard line. When they looked like they were in serious trouble, Francis got them out of it. Now the defense for the Falcons has to step up. You hold them to another field goal here, Jeff, and you got a chance. That's the only chance I feel that they have. Hold them to a field goal. 2nd and 9 for Port Barre, and I mean, I don't know, define this game up to this point for me, Jeff.
Well, it's been a tale of 2 football teams as the Falcons jumped out big, 15-0. But Port Barre, the championship caliber team they are, reeled off 24 points. Pitch play to the far side, and another great play by Will Marshall. What can you say about this guy? Just about as good a defensive end as I've seen anywhere. And if he's not all-state, they don't watch films in North Louisiana.
No, they don't, and I will have to give Port Barre one, a lot of credit. I know Coach Donnie Perrone has been there forever, and he is an outstanding coach. They made the necessary adjustments, and they worked. 3rd and 12 for Port Barre. And a great play right there by Zadaran on the blitz. And, Jeff, maybe the fourth quarter has woken the Falcons up.
Perhaps so, as Zadaran fought off a block and brought down the running back. He just disrupted that play, as it was going to be a little bit of a reverse as the St. Thomas crowd gets into it and shows their approval on the St. Thomas defense. Now we're looking at a field goal. It's going to be set at about the 27-yard line. It'll be a 37-yard attempt. And he's got the leg to kick that.
They're going to kick it. They're not going to fake it.
Here's the snap, and it's up. It's got the distance, and it is good. So with 9:58 remaining in the ball game, Port Barre 27, St. Thomas 15.
Tonight's game being brought to you by Central Progressive Bank. Interest-free checking accounts, home equity loans, auto loans, personal loans. Go by one of Central Progressive Bank's convenient location and see why Central Progressive Bank is your banking leader in the Florida parishes and southeast Louisiana. And Jeff, the Falcons dodged a big bullet right there. You only 12 down, and you got 9:58 to go in the ball game. You have a legitimate chance, no question about it.
Yeah, you're just going to have to turn it around a little bit. That didn't hurt you that bad because it was going to take you 2 scores to win the ball game anyway. So Coach Johnson getting on to his kickoff receiving team, which has really been the demise of this St. Thomas football team. So Joseph, along with Donnie Chaucer, back deep to receive. Burton, Dustain Reed, along with Zadaran, the up backs. And that's going to sail over Joseph's head. He touches it, and again, they're having trouble as he gets out to about the 15-yard line, going to get it up to about the 18. We see a flag being thrown, and that could be holding right there, and you're just digging yourself a grave.
Yeah, you definitely are, and I don't understand what they're so close for. I mean, after with this guy's leg, I mean, I don't know. That's like you say, Jeff, problems on the return team, something that's so elementary that shouldn't happen. But I think what happened is they had too many guys back deep next to one another. I don't know. I mean,
but it's the old adage, Marty. It's easier to come up than it is to go back. So go ahead and give them some respect. Get back around the 3 or 4 yard line, and if the ball's kicked short, come up and get it. But Joseph had to go back, lost the football, lost his balance, couldn't pick it up again, and Falcons are going to be in very poor field position as they set up on their own 9-yard line. Roussel under center, hand off to Joseph to the near side, finding a little running room, tries to cut it back, and is going to gain about 4 yards, call it 5 on the carry, and a flag, and it looks like it's going to be, let's wait and see what the call is going to be. But this game, tempers are starting to flare. No signal yet, but Port Barry's starting to move backwards, and if that's going to be the call, that'll be a gift for the Falcons as they were in really poor field position. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down will set the ball somewhere around the 27, 28-yard line, actually out to the 29, so a spot foul, dead ball foul, and the Falcons pick up 15 yards with no time run off the clock.
And they do, Jeff, and I mean, they have got to get something going offensively. I mean, they've just had a tough time of it. And I mean, there is nothing. They just done the job defensively. You talk about Port Barry's offense, but the defense has been the difference for Port Barry. They have just simply shut St. Thomas down offensively. They just have not been able to do anything. And that's going to be a loss of 2, so bring out 2nd down and 12, and I mean, I just don't have any answers. 8:51 to go in the ball game, and St. Thomas needing 2 scores to get back into this thing. Joseph, hard running, and that is a nice play call and a nice run by Joseph, Jeff, and that'll get you some confidence and get you some yardage. And they're going to bring the sticks in for a measurement. 8:19 to go in the ball game, and by no means are the Falcons out of this. And Jeff, I mean, it's when everything went right for the Falcons early on in the first quarter, and they did capitalize. I think it was I don't know if it was a case of Port Barry playing bad or what have you, but Port Barry obviously is an outstanding football team and has showed it. I mean, they don't do anything fancy. They just block well, they tackle well, they're very well coached, and they just win ball games, and that's what they've done tonight. I mean, they fall behind, they didn't panic, they could have given up, and they've hung in here and consequently have taken the lead. So 3rd and a yard for the Falcons. And this is definitely 2-down territory for St. Thomas. And that's DiBenedetto blasting his way for about 4, up to about the 45-yard line. And St. Thomas, Jeff, has got some light. They have just got to cash in. Only 2 scores down. We've seen them do it against St. Charles. Can they do it tonight in the playoff game in a regional round? DiBenedetto once again, and he just maybe get a yard. And Port Barre has just done a great job tonight. 2nd and 8 for the Falcons at their own 46-yard line. Coach Johnson desperately needing a big play here. Quarterback Butch Roussel under center. I have Joseph and DiBenedetto along with Zadaran. And I don't know what that was.
Well, the official over there was marking it as if that was a lateral. That was definitely not a lateral. That should be an incomplete pass. And a little bit of overruling there, so to bring up 3rd down and 9, and Marty, they need to throw the ball down the field.
Yeah, they definitely do. I mean, little hitch passes aren't going to do it at this point in the game. Roussel rolling. He's going to tuck it in. He has some room. And he's going to be close to the 1st down, and that's a big play right there by Roussel, as he is only a yard shy of the 1st down. And Jeff, this is at a point 4th down right here. This is your ball game for St. Thomas. You get it here, you got a shot. You don't, and barring miracles or turnovers, it's over with. And that's DiBenedetto picking it up.
And Coach Johnson's trying to get his troops to run without a huddle, and that just might be the ticket of what they need to throw this Port Barre defense off stride just a little bit. 6:36 remaining in the ball game. Falcons trailing by 12. Handoff to DiBenedetto, found a running room, and he's going to be close to another 1st down. That's just what the Falcons needed. Clock continues to roll, and as Falcons continue to go with no huddle. Finally, they stop the clock as they set the chains. Look for them maybe to go back to DiBenedetto again. And hand off to Joseph around near side, runs into his blocker, and he's going to gain about 3 yards on the carry, but the clock continues to run as it ticks close to the 6-minute mark. Play being called from the sideline. Falcons no huddle. Hand off to Zadaran. Zadaran hunting and pecking, and he's going to gain about 2 yards on the carry. Going to bring up 3rd down and about 6 yards to go for a 1st down. Falcons might think about spending the time out here. Falcons continue to go with no huddle. 5:25 remaining in the ball game. Falcons trailing 27-15. Marshall to the far side. Clemens to the near side. Back to pass. Roussel can't find anybody open. And he has DiBenedetto in the flats. And DiBenedetto is going to pick up a 1st down. Flag on the field. And it could be an illegal receiver downfield. And that's what happens, Marty, when your quarterback scrambles. You think maybe he's going to run, and you go down and block, and that is going to be the call.
And that hurt. I mean, and that was a good play by Butch. I mean, that hurt, Jeff. I mean, that right there was a good effort, right there by Roussel. A good effort by DiBenedetto, but just a legal man downfield. So now that's going to back them up 3rd and 12. And like you say, Jeff, they might want to think about calling a timeout. I mean, there is no tomorrow. I mean, you gotta round your troops up and figure out something.
They're taking this is the longest drive in this ball game. Back to pass Roussel.
And they read that one like a Dr. Seuss book. That was too easy.
They're going to punt it. They're going to punt the ball. They can't punt the ball.
So the Falcons are going to call timeout. We'll take one too. It probably was the right call. I mean, hopefully you'd get that call, but nevertheless, so valiant effort by the Falcons, and Port Barre will take over at their own 42-yard line. And Jeff, it was a gamely effort by the Falcons, and I thought they were going to win after the first quarter and midway through the second quarter. You probably did, the Falcons probably did, and Port Barre probably did, but that's why you play 4 quarters, and that's why Port Barre was 10-0 and ranked second. What can you say? You got to tip their hats to the Red Devils. They came in here and did what they had to do.
Well, we still got 4 minutes left in the ball game, but the Falcons are going to have to get a turnover as number 64, that'll be Jay Davis, enters the ball game, as some of the substitutes are going to get a chance to play. And as some of the younger guys get some valuable experience, because if you look down this roster, St. Thomas has more freshmen than they do seniors, so they'll go a long way. Second down and about 7. Handoff straight ahead, and Reed is going to stop him. And the Falcons might think about calling timeout here. 3 minutes and 20 seconds remaining in the football game. Falcons trailing 27-15 as they got off to a 15-0 lead, but it's been all Port Barre after that.